Welcome to the Turing School Interviews, a series of online meetings with experts on the regulation of markets and service to better understand what is happening in this particular historical period where the COVID-19 pandemic has determined important transformation of our lives, of the economies, and so also on the way public services are organized. We are glad today to have the possibility to discuss these topics with Marine Cornelis, who has been working with us in the past year. She's an expert in the energy sector, and she's the executive director and founder of Next Energy Consumers, a policy consultancy focused on the social aspect of the energy and climate transition, both at the European and international level. Ciao Marine, welcome.
Ciao. Thank you so much, Monica, for inviting me today.
Okay, so we are willing to know what is your opinion on the energy sector in this period. What is happening and what has been the reaction of this sector to this pandemic and to the lockdown in particular, and especially in terms of consumption, which have been the general trends?
So overall, what's very interesting is that overall there is a big drop in the demand because a lot of industries have been closed during this lockdown, and this of course has impacted the consumption in general. But what is also interesting is to note that on the other hand, for households, this consumption has, of course, risen because people have been spending way more time at home. People have been using their internet connection. They've been connected all the time, also for entertainment, for school, for work. So this has, of course, increased the demand, the household demand. And what's also interesting is to note that although in Italy we've had a very nice weather and we could just shut the heating system, in Northern Europe, when the lockdown started, it was still winter. So some consumers have experienced increasingly higher heating bills. And this, if you take this particular situation of increased time spent at home and increased need for electricity, this has been quite impactful also on the level of vulnerability, on the level of poverty that households may experience or will experience or are experiencing.
And what do you think also from the, as you know, like our interest is focusing in particular on the regulatory aspect of these services and in this sense also on the policies. So you are an expert also of clean energy, and so I would like to know how this situation is going, in your opinion, what is going to happen, how from a regulatory perspective in terms of cost of the services, also which are going to be the transformation, and if somehow this will impact also the direction that has been taken by the European level with the package, the clean energy package that was going to be promoted in this period right now. So what is going to happen from a policy side?
Okay, so 3 points. The first one is that almost all EU countries have decided to freeze any kind of disconnection for unpaid bills. So that has been a generic measure put in place is in almost all the countries in order for families not to be preoccupied if they couldn't afford their energy bills. So that is, I think it's something fundamental that we have to remember, that the regulators, the countries have reacted to this very particular situation. And that's very good. That was a way for a lot of people just to feel released. There has been policies a little bit more proactive or integrated, such as, for instance, in Spain, they have decided for people in furlough who are losing their job or temporarily unemployed, they have decided that they would directly enter in certain categories of vulnerable consumers and pay lower prices and so on. So that has been a very good example of the capacity for regulatory authorities to be flexible and to adapt to the situation. So I think we have to really applaud them for being so proactive in this matter. The second thing, regarding the overall trends of the energy market. Unfortunately, I was reading a report by the International Energy Agency this morning. Unfortunately, yes, there is less investment in energy this year, but overall, companies and states and everybody is quite scared. So it's normal. They want to wait and see. But what we can also say is that the beginning of the lockdown corresponds also to this huge collapse in the price of oil. So right now we can see that there is this trend to think that maybe renewable energies, they are more flexible, they are more available, they are local, they can be the right solution rather than fossil fuels that are already that show that they are already over and they cost too much, and it's not the sustainable, the future-proof solution. So we will see how it goes. We'll have to monitor the situation because, of course, nobody has a clear view on what will happen tomorrow. And the third point is, you mentioned the third energy package, but what's most important is the Green Deal at European level, because this third energy package was adopted throughout 2018 and 2019. And at EU level, it set up a whole new set of opportunities and rights for consumers, but also for the markets, to make it more flexible, more future-proof, more resilient to the future. But that has been adopted, and this supposes that countries are implementing this new this new set of legislative measures. Of course, it will take time, maybe a little bit more, but they are on track to do it, and they have to monitor how the way they will do it through what's called the National Energy and Climate Plans. And those plans are on track. There are only a few countries that have not submitted yet their those plans. And surprisingly, maybe or not surprisingly, I don't know, you'll judge, but Germany hasn't submitted their own plan. Luxembourg hasn't, and Ireland hasn't. So, well, we'll see what they have in mind and how they plan to set up this framework in the future. So, going back to that point, the thing is, the European Commission in December presented what they call the European Green Deal. And the European Green Deal is a novel framework that aims to go beyond silos, beyond the idea that energy is something and climate is something and social rights are somewhere. And the idea of this Green Deal is really to do no harm to the environment and also protect people in the framework of a just transition, make the energy and climate transition fair and sustainable for everyone. the European Commission has learned their lesson with the yellow vest crisis. I mean, they realized that if you don't take care of the people, if you don't look at their situation, if you make too many imbalances and give the impression that the poorest are the ones who are going to pay more, this creates a lot of tension, and this is a political time bomb. So let's say that the European Commission has been very proactive and has learned their lesson. So that's very good. And so about this Green Deal, a lot of things were already started to be presented between December and March, but including this just transition mechanism, especially for regions that will benefit regions that are heavily dependent on fossil fuels, on outdated technologies such as coal and so on. So, for instance, it should benefit some regions in Germany or in Poland, but maybe also in Italy, the region of Taranto, where there is this big Ilva factory and former Ilva, and that's heavily polluting. So the idea is really to take people on board and retrain them and offer them the possibility that they become actors of the future. To give them tools to be future-proof. So all this has already been presented at the beginning of the year before the lockdown. But yesterday, there was something interesting because the EU submitted their adapted budget. And in this adapted budget, they are planning to put even more money in this Just Transition Fund, even more emphasis on the Green Deal, even more emphasis on digitalization. So all in all this put together is quite a strong and green and smart and future-proof recovery plan. So I think we can be quite, we can have quite a lot faith in the future, because the EU is taking their time to acknowledge and observe what's needed, and what's needed is a green and sustainable recovery and transition.
Okay, so this was the perspective at the European level. I'm glad that is what is happening, what you just described. I would like to know if you can add something also at the international level. Are other countries trying to follow this trend, or they are more worried about economic production and I don't know what is happening?
So the thing is, in Europe, we are very strong because we have this super good regulatory framework and this capacity of talking, and we are one of the first commercial powers. So we are strong, and we are quite, we try to learn from the past. The thing is, all countries are reacting differently. If you see, I don't know. The thing is, I would like to compare with what's happening in the US, but I don't even understand what's happening there, because there is a lack of leadership at the federal level. So a lot of things are happening at the level of states. For instance, in Texas, interesting things are happening. But overall, I don't know if we can already see very big trends in the future prospect. I mean, as I mentioned earlier, coupled to the lockdown and the health crisis, there has also been a huge collapse of oil prices. And this, of course, will influence a lot the situation in the Middle East, the situation in Russia, the situation in certain African countries as well, or in South America, where there has been those investments. I mean, it's definitely an interesting period, not only at the energy level, but also at the leadership level, if you see what I mean. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what's coming next year at the Glasgow conference on the conference of the parties of for the United Nations on Development, the COP. I think it will be 26 or 27.
Okay, so thank you. So our third question was about the future, and as you said, it's really difficult today we don't have a crystal ball, so it's really difficult to imagine what will happen also next month. But I would like to know in your opinion, what will change in terms of consumers, because we have been experiencing shift from the cost, the energy cost, from the home working, from the office to home working. So all the costs have been covered by individuals at home, and I would like to know which in this aspect if things will change, because we have seen many companies that are saying maybe it's more sustainable to not only from a health point of view, but also from the cost aspect of the company to let people work at home. So could you?
Yeah, there is definitely an interesting shift because the cost of commuting are shifting. I mean, you don't need to take your car to get to work, or you don't need to take public transportation to get to work. So that's definitely something to take into consideration. The thing is, I think the priority or the focus will be really on the quality of the housing, on how people experience their housing, how they manage to set up these maybe a little nooks to work or study, if they realize that their house or apartment is not good enough, it's not tailored to their needs. And what's really interesting, if you think about that, is that in the first days in Italy where IKEA reopened, they were accused because people realized that they were missing a lot of things, maybe not essential, maybe essential, you don't know, but the housing has definitely taken another importance, another level. I mean, going to the restaurant is not such a nice experience anymore. I wish restaurants to reopen and everybody to be safe in restaurants, of course. But right now, it's a little bit strange to go to the restaurant with the measures in place. Whereas being at home, I mean, the home has become more than ever your shelter, your nook, your place where you want to feel safe and safer regarding the rest of the world. So if you consider that a lot of the energy is consumed within the homes, about 1/4 of the energy in general is consumed within the home. And if you consider that with this idea of comfort and feeling good at home, there will have a lot of there will be a lot of changes, and we can already see it. One of the interesting things about this Green Deal and about the European Commission is pushing is the idea of a renovation wave, because so far we have too many old, never renovated buildings in Europe that are completely non-performant at the level of energy, but also at the level of comfort. So the idea is really to push member states to implement more renovation plans, to have this better quality of their housing. And we'll see how it goes, because of course it will be very hard to say, I want to renovate my home, but I can't go to work and I have to spend all my day at home. I mean, that's nearly impossible. So it will be interesting to witness what and how this will go. This renovation wave plan will be presented in September. So let's keep in touch and talk about that later.
Thank you, Marine. Yes, we will call you back in September to know what happened in the what happened there. And so, thank you very much. It was really nice to have you discussing with us. And thank you all for your attention. And let's talk soon about energy development and what will happen in the next months. Thank you, Marine.
Thank you, Monica. Thank you.